The throne room of the alien queen was filled with light and shadows. Tall pillars of crystal glowed with blue fire, and the floor was polished like a mirror. Soldiers stood in silence, guarding the hall with their weapons ready. To any visitor, the queen's palace looked powerful, untouchable, eternal, but behind the golden throne sat a ruler who carried a pain that no army could protect her from. The alien queen was strong, feared across galaxies, but her heart was broken. Long ago, in the great war that tore through stars and worlds, she had lost her only daughter. The child had been taken during battle, stolen away in the smoke and fire. No body was ever found, no message ever returned. For years, the queen believed her daughter was gone, lost forever to the cruelty of war. But every night when the palace was quiet, she would walk alone to the highest tower. She would stand under the endless stars and whisper her daughter's name, hoping the universe would answer. Her people saw her as a goddess of strength. They never knew that their mighty queen was also a mother who grieved in silence. Advisors often warned her, "Forget the child. Rule with your mind, not your heart. Hope is weakness." The queen would nod, but deep inside she never stopped hoping. She carried the memory of her daughter like a hidden flame, small but alive. Years passed and the war ended. The galaxy healed, but the queen's heart did not. Until one day, whispers began to spread. Strange rumors traveled from the outer rim. Traders spoke of a human warrior, scarred, battle-worn, carrying with him a young alien girl. A girl with pale white hair and bright eyes, just like the queen once remembered. The palace shook with gossip. Could this be possible? Could the child be alive after all these years? Or was it only a cruel trick designed to break the queen's will? The queen did not show her feelings, but inside her heart began to race. She knew the galaxy was full of lies, full of traps. Many enemies would use her grief against her, but still the thought would not leave her. What if it was true? What if my daughter lives? That night she could not sleep. She walked again to the high tower, looking at the cold stars. She thought of her child's laughter, of her small hands, of the day she was taken. She thought of the human warrior in the stories. Why would a human risk his life to guard an alien child? Humans were strange creatures. In the wars, they were weak compared to the empires, but they had something different, something that frightened even the strongest rulers. They refused to give up. They would fight even when there was no chance of victory. Some said humans were dangerous because of this. Others said they were special. The queen whispered into the night, "If my child still lives, bring her back to me. Show me the truth." Far away, in the dark corners of the galaxy, the human warrior was already walking. His armor was broken, his face scarred, but his eyes were full of fire. Beside him walked the girl, small and quiet, holding his hand. They were hunted by enemies, chased by shadows, yet he did not stop. He had promised the child, "I will take you home." And somewhere deep inside, the queen felt it, the faint call of blood, the bond between mother and child. She did not know if it was real or only a dream, but her heart whispered back, "My daughter, she is coming." The throne room was silent the next day, but every soldier, every servant felt a change. The queen's eyes no longer looked only at the present. They searched the horizon, waiting for something or someone. The galaxy held its breath. The story was just beginning. The desert moon was silent except for the crunch of boots against the dry ground. A lone figure moved across the wasteland, carrying the weight of both armor and memory. His name was not spoken often, but whispers called him the human warrior. He was scarred from battles no one else had survived. Across his face ran a mark, left by alien steel. His armor was cracked, his weapon old, but his spirit burned like fire. And beside him, holding his hand, walked a young alien girl. She was small, thin, and weak from the long journey, but her eyes glowed like the stars above. To many, she was just a child. To him, she was the reason he still fought. He had pulled her from the ruins of war, saved her from soldiers who wanted her dead, and promised her one thing: I will take you home. But home was far away, the golden palace of the alien queen, and every step toward it was full of danger. Enemies hunted them. Shadows followed their trail. Some wanted the child for power. Others wanted her destroyed. The human knew that the galaxy was against them, yet he kept moving, one step after another, never letting go of the girl's hand. The girl trusted him. She did not know his world. She did not know his people, but she knew his heart. At night, when the cold winds rose, she would lean against his armor and whisper, "Will my mother know me?" The human never lied. He looked at her with tired eyes and answered softly, "She will know. A mother always knows." But deep inside, he wondered, would the queen trust him? Would she believe this was her daughter? Or would she see only an enemy, a human bringing tricks to her throne? He pushed the fear away. His duty was not to be believed. His duty was to protect the girl. Their journey was not hidden. Traders saw them on broken starships. Smugglers watched them cross burning skies. Whispers spread across planets. A human carrying an alien child who looked like the queen's bloodline. Some laughed, some feared, but some planned. In the dark halls of the queen's enemies, generals and warlords listened to the rumors. They had gained power after the war, filling the empty space left by the queen's grief. If the child truly returned, their power would vanish. The queen would rise stronger than ever. They could not allow it. Assassins were sent. Ships were launched. Traps were set on the path to the palace. The human knew they were being hunted. He felt eyes on his back in every marketplace, shadows in every corner. But he never showed fear to the child. Instead, he told her stories about Earth, about humans, about courage. He spoke of soldiers who stood against endless odds, of mothers who fought for their children, of fathers who crossed oceans to protect their families. The child listened wide-eyed, and slowly she began to smile again. But the galaxy was cruel. One night, while they camped in the ruins of an old battlefield, a sound broke the silence. The human drew his weapon and stood in front of the child. Figures stepped from the darkness. Mercenaries, their eyes sharp, their hands ready to kill. "You carry something that does not belong to you," one of them hissed. The human did not move. "She belongs to herself," he said firmly, "and she goes home." The fight was brutal. Blades clashed, guns fired, the night lit up with fire. The human fought like a storm, his wounds opening again, his strength pushed to the edge. But he would not fall, not while the girl stood behind him. At last the mercenaries fled, leaving their dead behind. The girl ran to him, tears on her face. "Why do they want me gone?" she asked. The human knelt, breathing hard, his armor broken further. "Because you are important. Because you carry hope. And hope is something enemies always fear." The girl held his hand tighter after that night. She no longer asked if her mother would know her. She only asked if they would reach her. The human always answered the same: "Yes, we will." Far away, the palace of the alien queen stood under the stars. She had not yet seen them, but something inside her began to stir. A pull, a bond, as if her heart already knew her child was walking back toward her. The galaxy was moving. The human and the child were no longer just travelers. They were the spark of something greater, something dangerous, something unstoppable. And in the shadows, enemies whispered one vow. They must never reach the queen alive. The hunt had only just begun. The galaxy is wide, filled with stars and worlds, but even in such endless space, danger follows close. The human warrior and the child moved from planet to planet, hiding in broken towns, sleeping in abandoned ships, and crossing wastelands where no one cared who lived or died. Yet no matter how far they traveled, the shadows always found them. In the great cities of the empire, whispers had reached powerful ears. Generals who once fought beside the queen now feared her return to strength. During the years of her grief, They had built secret armies, collected wealth, and spread their claws into every corner of the galaxy. Her sorrow was their opportunity. If her daughter returned, that power would be lost. And so they gathered in dark halls, plotting. "The Queen must never see the child," one general said, his face hidden behind a steel mask. "She is already weak," another sneered. "Let her hope destroy her, but kill the human, kill the girl." Assassins were chosen, trackers sent out. Ships without names left hidden ports, hunting across the stars. The human and the girl were no longer only travelers. They were prey. The girl did not understand the danger. She still looked at the stars with wonder, asking questions about each glowing light. The human answered gently, though his eyes never stopped watching the horizon. He knew enemies were near. He could feel it in the silence, in the way strangers stared too long, in the way shadows moved where no one should be. One night, as they camped in the remains of a broken ship, the human felt the air shift. He moved quickly, pulling the girl close. Then out of the darkness came the hunters. Figures in black armor surrounded them, silent as ghosts. Their blades shone in the moonlight, curved and deadly. The leader stepped forward, his voice cold as metal. "Hand her over, human. She is not yours to keep." The human raised his weapon. His voice was calm but firm. "She is not yours either. She goes home." The battle exploded in the night. Sparks flew, steel clashed, and the sound of war echoed once more. The human fought with fury, every strike powered by the promise he had made. But they were too many. For every enemy he cut down, two more appeared. The girl hid behind the ruins, tears in her eyes, but she did not scream. The human had told her once, "Silence is survival." She trusted him. She waited. At last, bleeding and tired, the human pulled a hidden grenade from his armor. With one throw, light and fire filled the air. The assassins scattered, screaming. He grabbed the girl's hand, and together they ran into the night, the ruins burning behind them. But escape did not end. The danger. Soon after, their path was blocked by ships, sleek, black, and deadly. The hunters were prepared for every move. The human knew they could not outrun them. He turned to the girl, his face serious. "Do not fear. Whatever happens, I will not leave you." The girl nodded, though her small hands trembled. She looked at him with wide eyes, whispering, "Why do you fight for me? You are not my blood." The human paused. His breath was heavy, his armor broken, yet his eyes burned with truth. "Because no child should be alone. Because every life deserves a chance. Because you matter." Those words gave her strength. For the first time, the girl stood tall, her fear replaced by something brighter. She was not just a child anymore. She was the daughter of a queen, and deep inside, she felt her destiny calling. The ships above opened fire. Explosions shook the ground. The human pulled her close and ran toward the mountains. Behind them, the land turned to flame. Ahead of them, darkness waited. In the palace far away, the alien queen woke suddenly in the night. Her heart pounded. She felt something she could not explain. Fear, hope, danger all at once. She looked to the stars and whispered, "My child, you are near. Hold on." The shadows were closing in. The human and the child had survived another night, but the hunt was far from over. The enemies had sworn one thing: they must never reach the queen alive. And as the sun rose over the mountains, the humans saw it, the largest army yet, waiting in the valley below. The real war was about to begin. The palace of the alien queen stood, like a mountain of crystal, shining in the endless night of space. From the outside, it looked unshakable, a fortress of power. But inside its golden halls, the queen carried a storm within her heart. For years, she had ruled with strength and silence. The people bowed to her, the generals obeyed her, and the galaxy feared her. Yet when she was alone, she was not a ruler. She was only a mother who had lost everything. Her daughter, stolen by war, was the wound that never healed. Now the whispers had returned. Rumors spread like wildfire. A human warrior was bringing her child back. The queen's hands trembled as she sat on her throne, hidden by long sleeves of silver cloth. Could this be true? Could the child she mourned for so long still live? Her advisors spoke in sharp voices. "Your Majesty," one said, bowing low, "it is a trap. The humans cannot be trusted. This man brings only lies." Another argued, "But the rumors are too strong. Many witnesses have seen the child. The people believe she lives. If this is false, their hope will turn to anger." The queen said nothing. Her golden crown felt heavy, as if it carried the weight of both grief and doubt. At night, she walked alone in her garden of glass flowers. She remembered her daughter's laugh, her small footsteps running across the palace floors. She remembered the day of the war, the fire, the chaos, the desperate cry as soldiers pulled the child away. No mother forgets that sound. But could she trust the universe to give her child back? Could she trust a human to bring her truth? Humans were known as strange, reckless, unpredictable. They fought with fire in their hearts, but they were not her people. And yet, deep inside, something stirred. A mother's bond is not broken by distance nor by war. Sometimes she felt as if her daughter was calling to her from across the stars. Sometimes she woke in the night with the taste of hope on her lips. The palace was not blind to her silence. Generals whispered behind her back. Some feared the child's return, for it meant the queen's strength would rise again. Others wanted the truth, for they loved their queen and wished to see her whole. "Majesty," said one of her most loyal guards, "if the child lives, you must see her with your own eyes. Hope is dangerous, but so is doubt. Do not let enemies decide your truth." The queen stared at the stars. "And if this human deceives me? If the girl is not mine? If it is all a trick to break me? Then you will know," the guard answered. "And if it is true, your people will rise with you again." The queen closed her eyes. She could almost hear her daughter's voice, soft and distant. Was it memory, or was it real? She did not know. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, the human warrior and the girl moved closer to the palace, chased by shadows. Each step brought them nearer, and each step brought more danger. The child grew weaker, but her spirit stronger. She whispered to herself, "I am the queen's daughter. I must reach her." In the palace, the queen gathered her council. Her voice was calm, but her words cut like steel. "If this human arrives," she said, "bring him to me. But he will not be trusted. If he lies, he dies. If the child is false, she will not see another dawn." Her advisors bowed, though some smiled secretly, for they wished to see the human fall. The queen sat alone after the council left. She placed her hand on her heart and whispered, "My child, if you are out there, forgive me. I cannot open my heart too easily. I am a queen before I am a mother. But if you live, I will know you." Her words vanished into the cold halls. Outside the palace walls, the people whispered prayers. Some believed the child would return. Others feared it. But all knew one truth: the galaxy was changing. And in the shadows of the city, enemy spies listened. They carried messages back to the generals. "The queen waits. If the human comes, he will stand before her throne. This is our chance. We strike when they arrive." The queen did not know it yet, but her throne was about to become the center of war once more. The bond between mother and child had survived years of silence, but now it would be tested by fire, betrayal, and blood. The queen lifted her eyes to the stars. For the first time in years, her heart whispered a fragile word: hope. But even as she spoke it, the shadows outside sharpened their knives. The throne room of the alien queen was silent. The air was heavy, as if the palace itself waited to breathe. Soldiers lined the walls, their weapons ready, their eyes sharp. The queen sat tall on her golden throne, her crown glowing under the crystal light. But her heart, hidden beneath layers of strength, beat faster than it had in years. The great doors stood closed. Behind them, the sound of boots echoed. Slow, heavy, growing closer. Every guard straightened. Every advisor leaned forward. The queen's fingers gripped the arm of her throne, though her face remained calm. She had waited years for this moment, yet feared it more than any battle. The doors opened. A man stepped inside, scarred, tired, carrying the weight of many wars. His armor was broken, his weapon strapped across his back. He was human. His presence alone made some soldiers hiss, their hands tightening on their weapons. But the man did not falter. He walked forward, steady, his gaze unshaken. Beside him walked a girl, small, fragile, but with eyes bright as stars. Her white hair glowed under the palace light, her steps unsure but determined. The queen's heart froze. The sight struck her like lightning. Those eyes, that face. She had seen them before, long ago, in another life. Her daughter. The girl looked around the grand hall, her small hand clinging to the human's. She saw the throne, and for a moment her lips parted as if she knew, as if she felt the same bond that pulled at the queen's chest. But before she could move, the guards stepped forward, their spears blocking her path. "Stay back," one barked. The girl flinched. The human tightened his grip on her hand, his voice strong. "She belongs here. Do not stop her." The hall shook with whispers. Advisors leaned close to one another. It could be a trick. A human cannot be trusted. This girl, is she truly the queen's blood? The queen raised her hand, and silence fell. Her voice rang clear, though her heart trembled. "Show me the truth." The human stepped forward, his eyes locked with hers. He did not bow, but he did not challenge. His voice was steady. "I found her in the ashes of war. Soldiers hunted her. I fought to protect her. She has walked with me across fire and shadow. I promised her I would bring her home." The queen's eyes narrowed. And why would a human risk his life for an alien child? The hall grew tense. The human's reply was simple. "Because she deserves to live. Because no child should be lost to war. Because her life is worth more than mine." The queen's heart trembled again, but she hid it well. She turned her gaze to the girl. "Child, who are you?" The girl hesitated. She looked at the queen, at the throne, at the crown shining above her. Slowly she spoke, her voice soft but clear. I don't remember everything, but I see your face, I feel it here." She placed a hand on her chest. "You are my mother." The queen's breath caught. For a moment, the mask of the ruler fell, and the mother inside her shone through. She wanted to rise, to run, to hold the child she thought was lost forever. But doubt chained her heart. "What if it is false?" a general whispered from the side. "What if the human forged this lie to weaken you?" another hissed. The queen's doubt returned. Her voice turned, sharp. "Blood can be copied, faces can be shaped, hope can be used as a weapon. I will not fall to it so easily." The child's eyes filled with tears. She took a step forward, but the guards crossed their spears again. The human growled, his hand moving to his weapon. "Enough," the queen commanded. Her eyes locked on the girl. "If you are truly my child, prove it. Show me what no one else could know." The hall was silent. The girl's small hands shook. She searched her memory, deep inside, past the fear, past the pain, and then she whispered a name, a secret name, the one only her mother had ever called her. The queen's eyes widened. Her heart stopped. Only one person in the universe could know that name. Her daughter. The queen rose slowly from her throne. Her advisors gasped. Her guards stiffened. For the first time in years, her hands trembled as she reached forward. "My child," she whispered. But before they could meet, the sound of explosions tore through the palace. The walls shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. The doors burst open once more, this time not with hope, but with fire. Enemy soldiers stormed inside, weapons blazing. The hall of reunion turned into a battlefield. The human pulled the girl behind him, drawing his blade. The queen shouted orders, her voice stronger than ever. The moment of truth had arrived, but so had war. The throne room, once silent with doubt, now screamed with chaos. The reunion would not come without blood. The throne room was no longer a place of peace. Fire and smoke filled the air as enemy. Soldiers poured through the shattered gates. Their armor was black, their weapons glowing with deadly energy. They moved like a tide of shadows roaring for blood. The queen stood tall, her crown shining even in the chaos. Her guards rushed forward, forming a wall to protect her, but the attack was too sudden, too fierce. The enemies had planned this, strike perfectly. They wanted the child dead, the human destroyed, and the queen broken. The young girl clung to the human warrior. Her small body shook with fear, but her eyes refused to look away. She had seen war before, but never in the heart of her mother's palace. The human knelt beside her, his voice low but firm. "Stay close, do not run. Whatever happens, I will protect you." Then he rose, blade in hand, eyes burning like fire. He stepped forward into the storm. The first wave of enemies charged. Blades clashed. Sparks flew. The human fought with the strength of a man who had nothing left to lose and everything left to protect. He cut through armored foes with furious strikes, his body bleeding but his spirit unbroken. The queen's soldiers fell one by one. Yet the queen herself did not remain seated. She lifted her hand, and a spear of crystal appeared, glowing with royal power. Her voice thundered through the chaos. "No more hiding, no more grief. My child is mine, and I will not lose her again." She leapt into battle, striking with the fury of both a ruler and a mother. Every movement was graceful yet deadly. Her enemies fell before her like leaves in a storm. For the first time, the human and the queen fought side by side. Alien power and human courage joined together. Their blades crossed in rhythm, their steps matched, as if destiny itself had tied them to this moment. The girl watched from behind a pillar, tears in her eyes, but not only of fear. She saw her mother alive with strength again. She saw the human, bleeding yet unyielding, fighting for her, as if she were his own blood. For the first time she felt safe, but the enemy did not come unprepared. At the back of the throne room, a general stepped forward. His armor was darker than night, his voice cold as death. "Fools," he sneered. "Do you think love will save you? The galaxy is built on power, not hope." He raised his weapon, and energy blasted across the hall, striking down guards like broken glass. The queen's eyes narrowed. She recognized him. A traitor, once her ally during the war. "You," she hissed. "You sold your honor for power." "And you," he replied, "let grief make you weak. This child will never rule. She will die here, and with her, your empire." The human stepped forward, blood on his face, his voice like stone. "Not while I stand." The general laughed, charging forward. Their clash shook the hall, blade against blade, strength against strength. The queen joined the fight, her spear cutting through the traitor's defenses. Still, he was strong, too strong for one alone. But together, human and alien struck, in perfect unity. The battle raged across the room. Fire burned, walls cracked, the golden throne itself trembled. At last, with one final strike, the human drove his blade into the traitor's chest, while the queen's spear pierced his armor. The general fell, his last words a curse. "This is not the end." The hall fell silent. The remaining enemies fled, fear in their eyes. The queen stood tall, her breath heavy. She turned to the human who staggered, bleeding. For the first time, her voice softened. "You fought not as an enemy, but as a brother." "Why?" The human wiped the blood from his face, his answer simple. "Because she needed me. And because even in war, humans protect what matters most." The queen looked at him, then at her daughter, who now ran into her arms. She held the child close, tears finally breaking free. The years of grief ended in that single embrace. "My daughter," she whispered, "you are home." The child clung to her, sobbing. The human turned away, giving them space, his face unreadable. But peace did not last long. From outside the broken palace, horns echoed. Ships moved in the skies. The enemy was not gone. This was only the beginning. The queen raised her head, fire in her eyes. The war has returned, but this time, I will not fight alone. She looked at the human. For the first time, not with doubt, but with trust. The galaxy had changed, and together they would face what was coming. The palace was in ruins. Smoke rose from broken walls, and the throne room was scarred with fire and blood. Yet in the middle of the destruction, the alien queen stood tall, her daughter safe in her arms. Beside them, the human warrior leaned. On his blade, breathing hard, his armor cracked, his body bruised, but still unbroken. For the first time in years, the queen felt whole. Her daughter was alive. The weight of grief that had crushed her heart was gone, replaced by a fierce fire. She was no longer just a ruler of an empire. She was a mother again. But outside the shattered windows, the sky glowed red. Enemy warships filled the heavens, circling the capital like vultures. Their horns roared through the air, shaking the city. The war had returned, not with whispers, but with full force. The queen placed her daughter gently in the care of her most loyal guard. She stepped forward, her voice strong and clear. Prepare the fleet. Send word to every world loyal to the crown. We will not bow. We will not break. Tonight, the galaxy will remember who we are. The guards saluted, their spirits rising. The queen turned to the human warrior. Her golden eyes studied him, scarred, weary, but unshaken. You have fought for her when no one else would, she said softly. You have carried my child across fire and death. You have earned a place not only in my court but in my heart. The human shook his head. I am no hero. I am just a soldier who kept his promise. Perhaps, the queen replied, her voice steady, but promises shape destiny. Outside, the enemy fleet descended. Explosions lit the sky. The city shook as towers crumbled. Yet the people looked to the palace, and for the first time in years, they saw their queen standing tall with her daughter by her side. Hope returned to them like a forgotten flame. The child stepped forward, her small hand reaching for her mother's. She looked at the human, her eyes bright. You will fight with us, won't you? She asked. The human knelt, his face softening. I will fight until my last breath, not for crowns or thrones, but for you. The girl smiled, a fragile smile born from pain but filled with strength. Then, the palace doors shook as enemy soldiers stormed inside. The final battle began. The queen's army clashed with the invaders in the burning halls. Blades and energy weapons lit the darkness. The queen herself charged forward, her crystal spear cutting through armored foes. The human fought at her side, his blade singing with fury. Together they became an unstoppable force, alien power, and human courage bound by a shared destiny. The enemy fell back, but their general appeared once more, alive, scarred, and burning with rage. His voice echoed, You may win today, but the galaxy is mine. War will never end. The queen's eyes blazed. Then we will fight until it does. The general lunged, striking with monstrous strength. The human blocked the blow, his body trembling under the force. The queen attacked from the side, her spear glowing. Together they drove the traitor to his knees. With one final strike, the human's blade pierced his chest, ending the battle. Silence fell. The enemy soldiers scattered, fleeing into the night. The war was not over, but the palace was safe. The queen stood tall, her daughter by her side, the human at her right. She raised her voice so all could hear. Today, the war returned to our gates. But today, we did not fall. We rise again, stronger than before, and we rise not alone. Humanity stands with us. Together, we will forge a new destiny. The crowd outside the palace roared with hope. For the first time, alien and human banners flew together. The queen looked at the human. You are no longer just a warrior. You are a guardian of my blood, a protector of my empire. You are family. The human bowed his head. For the first time in years, he allowed himself to believe. Not in war, but in something greater. The child smiled through her tears, holding both her mother's hand and the human's. "We are not broken anymore," she whispered. The queen kissed her daughter's forehead. The human stood watch, eyes fixed on the stars. Far above, enemy fleets regrouped. New wars were coming. But the queen no longer feared. Her daughter was alive. Humanity stood at her side. And the galaxy would soon learn that hope, once reborn, could never be destroyed. The story of grief had ended. The story of destiny had begun.